Okay, I was thinking about sun energy and the sun energy inside of each and every one of your cells. Like the nucleus, like the nucleus of this cell body, of this earth. And I was thinking about how cleaning up your house physically on the inside and your actual house. And I was like, well, what's the difference? And my mom was like, well, I don't know. Is there a difference? Try it out. So I was like, okay. And whenever I clean house, I clean pretty vigorously. So I was like, all right, well, I'll have to get a pretty good workout out of that. So I grabbed like a towel, and all I did was like get really hot water, and I started cleaning the windows like really vigorously, like the sliding glass door that we have, and the sun like immediately started coming out, like immediately. I was like, that's interesting. And then I cleaned like more windows downstairs, and now it just makes me want to clean even more windows in the house. Like, I know it might sound silly, but the fact that I saw immediate results was like pretty astounding for me. And then I was inside the house, and I was washing the cloth again, and then I looked at the leaves outside, like outside my kitchen window, and I was wanting to rake up the leaves, like I was wanting to rake up the leaves, but then it was like something sort of stopped me from raking the backyard, and like for whatever reason I didn't rake them. So I looked at the leaves, and I noticed the leaves had like distributed themselves totally different. Like the leaves had moved from where they were to like the outer edges or something like that. And when I did that, it was like, when I did that, what am I talking about? Yeah, so I saw that the leaves had actually distributed themselves. Like they had actually moved around. Yet, like, yes, it could be wind, it could be all of these things. However, it's not windy. It hasn't been windy here in a little while, like a couple of days, and they moved in a certain way, and it was like a circle, like a pattern. And then it made me think about crop circles, and I was like, that's really interesting. And I know that like crop circles have to do with the magnetic, um, the polar distribution between like probably the air molecules and like maybe the water in the sky and the water like under the earth, and maybe it just like makes patterns because of temperature differences. It makes the biggest changes in a lot of locations, and your body, just like we saw with my coffee experiment, it was like the high heat takes the film off, takes the oils out, high heat cooling it down, high heat cooling it down, layer by layer by layer, and then you finally enjoy not that you can't enjoy it anyways, but like it's a different flavor. It's a totally different flavor when you add heat and pressure over and over and over again, like pasteurized milk. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that was like an experiment I wanted to try. But it's like the same thing when it comes to the earth. It's like the hot, cold, hot, cold. And just by like feeling cold in my system, like if I felt cold, and instead of like, I don't know, it can happen either way, but like instead of like wearing a blanket, it was like I felt the need to work vigorously. Like either you're running or you're cleaning the house, or it's something about physical activity that literally excites everything from the center. And I like realized a great truth out of that by looking at my backyard and the leaves, and it made me think of the crop circles, which makes me think that the galactic ordering dynamic, God, is simply underlying absolutely everything. And by moving your frequency from the center out, it's like you can immediately see it in nature. Why it happens in certain locations in the world, I don't know, but maybe I'll have one in my backyard pretty soon. There's some kind of experiment I saw online, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like frequency energy distribution, and it's like you got all these little, they're like dirt. It's like little grains of sand, like say beach sand, like white beach sand, and it's like in this, uh, it's like a square container, right? It's got a lid on it and everything, but you can still see it's like a plastic glass or whatever, right? And they got it on this machine, and the machine is vibrating, right? And all the little granules are vibrating, like the molecules, say, in your skin or in the air or wherever your brain. So it's like they're moving, right? And like if you have it at a certain frequency, they're just at the same level. They're at the same level. But if you change the frequency, it's like it creates motion and waves. And it's like, it's as if they are moving, but it's kind of like any molecule in the air. It's like if you have a certain vibration here, and even though there's like a bunch of molecules here, it's not as if one actually moves over here. It's just this vibrates, which vibrates this one, which vibrates this one, and it looks like motion. It looks like energy in motion because one gets it, the other one gets it, the other one gets it, bam. And that's probably the reason why in quantum physics they talk about like particles can be on like one side of the universe and then on the other side of the universe, and one gets the information and the other one gets the information, because all of that stuff in between, that's all connected. I mean, it doesn't have to actually be there, because maybe it actually is there. So, you know, when I talked about like certain structures inside of, or not inside, but how I see like this ordering dynamic in the trees, like the way the branches are formed, the way the leaves fall, I can literally look at the ground and I can see a perfect order in that. And when it rains or there's mist, it's like I can see where all the light, like where all the light beams touch, and I can see structures and stuff, like actual buildings from, it almost looks like Atlantis, like it literally looks like Atlantis or something underwater when it's misty that way with the lights. And it really excites me because it makes me think like, you know, it's all here. I think it's all right here. I think that all of these locations that we talk about, being in the past or the future, or like what happened to Atlantis, I'm like, you know, I think they're all still here. I think those frequencies are definitely still here, and what we're doing is we're moving into those frequencies. And so, you know, things are becoming uncovered, but what that really means is that they've always been here. We're just now starting to find them. So, you know, just like I said about Kirlian photography, even if you cut down a tree, the energy still remains, and you can see that with actual proof, visible proof on Kirlian photography or a photography biofeedback. And you can also learn it from people who have an amputee, you know, like their leg, for, you know, whatever situation happened, they're now missing a leg, but they still have that phantom limb where they can still feel it because the energy simply is still there and it's not going anywhere. So it's like, even though the buildings appear as if they knocked down or something happened, maybe it was a mind pocket. Maybe it's something in our mind that happened and we thought that it wasn't there. Maybe, you know? And I think that just by realizing that, even more truth becomes uncovered. Just by realizing that. Because I see it in my own front yard. If the weather is just right, I can literally see it. And even if it's drier outside, I can still see it in like trees and like solidified things. But who says it has to stop there? You know what I mean? Like, who says it has to? Maybe that's the reason why seasons change and why you have mist sometimes, or why it's super dry sometimes, because then it moves your focus from one thing to another. And then it's like, you know, the limited time offer things. Like, yeah, it gets annoying because you wish you could have it all the time. However, when it does come around again, you're like, yeah, it's that excitement. It's that night to day moment where you're like, yeah. It makes you really appreciate it when you haven't had it for a while. Yeah, so that energy distribution, that's really interesting. I feel like just by changing my own mind pockets, just by changing the way I was thinking and moving a lot faster this morning than usual by like looking up interesting things, it's like literally I already see a difference in my immediate weather, my immediate nature right outside of my house. Like, even the people in my house right now, it's like I move a frequency in my own brain, and it's like I change my own metabolism and I'm super hyper. And it's like literally the people around me change as well to like this similar frequency. It's like it's always there. And we all wake up at different times, at different frequencies, and I think that's the ticket, is that it's always there. It's just about, dang, it's like you change your brain, you change the way you think about things, and the frequency in the way you think about things, and it's like your eyes connect to that, and then you see the order, disorder, the entropy, regeneration. You see, all you're doing is you're seeing that the way the particles were together here, they just moved around and shifted, but it's the same particles. So if something looks like difficult, if you look at something and something looks kind of difficult to look at, I think it's just a mind pocket. It's just the frequency in your own brain that tells your eyes what you're looking at. Holy crap, man. Whoa, this makes me want to keep going. And physical activity really unlocked a lot in my mind. Just a little bit of physical activity. It's like amazing. Well, alright then. Thank you for watching.